Hello and welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about different types of buying options for Amazon EC2. So over here in the Orion papers, let's dive back into EC2 Essentials and this time click on the Buying Options tab. So there are three main buying options that we want to be aware of when studying for and taking the Certified Solutions Architect examination. And also, it's very important just to be aware of these for our own knowledge when we're architecting applications in the AWS cloud. And these three are on-demand, reserved, and spot. And they can be found over here in the EC2 console under instances. This is where we can view and launch our on-demand instances. Spot requests, so these are going to be our spot buying instances, and also reserved instances. So first, let's talk about on-demand instances. So on-demand purchasing allows you to choose any instance type you like and provision or terminate it at any time. It is, however, the most expensive purchasing option, but it offers the most flexibility, meaning that you can provision any on-demand instance whenever you want, keep it live for any amount of time that you like, and then terminate it at any time that you like. So you can use an on-demand instance for a minute, an hour, a day, a week, a year, or however long you like. And you are only charged when the instance is running and you are billed by the hour. So when we actually go through and create an instance, we will recognize that you can have an instance running after you've provisioned it, but you can also stop the instance, meaning that it is still there and in your account. It is just basically turned off. And when it's turned off or stopped, then you aren't being billed for its usage. So you can still just have it there and not be billed for it as long as you're not using it, but it must be stopped. And next, as I mentioned earlier, you can provision or terminate an on-demand instance at any time. So that's just the whole concept of on-demand. Next is reserved. And so reserved purchasing allows you to purchase an instance for a set period of time of 1 or 3 years. So what you're doing here is that you're locking in that you're paying for an instance for a period of 1 or 3 years, but the price is then offered to you at a significant discount over using an on-demand instance. So if you were to use an on-demand instance, let's say a T2 micro for the period of 1 year, let's say that it would cost you theoretically $1,000 for the year. Now I'm just making that number up. For reserved instances, if you were to purchase the T2 micro for the set period of time of 1 year, then maybe it would only cost you $600 for the entire year. Now, again, I'm just using those as completely hypothetical numbers. Those are not real numbers. I'm just using that as an example of the advantage of buying a reserved instance over an on-demand instance. However, unlike an on-demand instance, with a reserved instance, if you purchase a reserved instance for the period of 1 year, then you're responsible for paying that full amount for the year, regardless of whether or not you are using the instance. So you are locked into that time period and you are locked into how much you agreed to pay, regardless of if it's used or if it's stopped. Now you do have the ability to pay fully upfront, partial upfront, or no upfront for a reserved instance. And again, once you buy a reserved instance, you own it for the selected time period and are responsible for the entire price, regardless of how often you use it. So I can't stress that enough. Now, why would you use a reserved instance over an on-demand instance knowing that you're going to be locked into the price? Well, let's say that you're running an application and you know that you're going to need 3 servers running at 80 or 90 or 100% capacity for the minimum of a year. Well, then it wouldn't make sense to use on-demand because you're going to pay a lot more. But with reserved, you would get a significant discount on the price. But again, it's going to be used when you know that you have to use a certain amount of capacity for an application and you're going to need it for a certain set amount of time. So the last option is spot pricing. So now spot pricing is a way for you to bid on an instance and only pay for and use that instance when the spot price is equal to or below your bid price. So basically what this is a marketplace, a live marketplace where prices for instances will fluctuate based on supply and demand for what AWS considers to be any currently unused EC2 instance types. Now, this option allows Amazon to sell the use of unused instances for generally short amount of time at a substantial discount. So a substantial discount over an on-demand price and a substantial discount over a reserved price. Spot prices fluctuate based on supply and demand in the spot marketplace. You are charged by the hour, and that's with conditions, and I'll explain that in a second. And when you have an active bid, so let's say that you bid 5 cents on the use of a T2 micro for an hour, An instance is provisioned for you when the spot price is equal to or less than your bid price. So let's say that the current spot price of an EC2 T2 micro instance is 6 cents and you put in a bid of 5 cents. Well, for the time that the spot price is at 6 cents, you won't be using the EC2 instance. One will not be provisioned in your account. But if the spot price then falls to 5 cents, matching your bid price of 5 cents, then it will provision that EC2 instance for you in your account, and then you will then be responsible for paying the 5 cents for each hour until you either decide to terminate or remove your bid price, or the spot price increases again above your bid price. So it is important to know that if a provision instance automatically terminates when the spot price is greater than your bid price, then you are not responsible for paying the partial hour. So let's say that you are an hour and a half into using a spot instance and the spot price increases above your bid price. Therefore, the instance is then terminated and decommissioned out of your account. You're not responsible for paying that 30 minutes you used in that second hour. However, if it's the reverse, if you are an hour and a half into using a spot instance and you decide that you no longer want to use it and you remove your bid price, then you will be charged for the full second hour. So now, why would you want to use spot instances, or when would you want to use them? For what type of application? So generally you want to use them for non-production applications, or for applications or for processes where they can be interrupted. Because remember, if you have a bid price in and the spot price rises above your bid price, then you're no longer going to have access to that instance. So you only want to use it for processes that can start and stop easily, and that if they're interrupted, that won't be an issue. So that is a quick summary of the 3 purchasing options for EC2. And the one that we're going to focus heavily on in this course is going to be on demand, because we're just going to be provisioning and terminating a lot of instances throughout this course. And with that, we will conclude this lesson. Thank you for watching. You may now move on.